Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are doing well this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Ms. Falk, Ms. McLeod. Let's see. Ms. Bridgewater, are you on with us? Ms. Bridgewater, you there? And it does not look like, it looks like courtroom 2 is just connecting now. We'll get started as soon as everybody joins us.
Your Honor, I don't know if Deputy Falk already announced this, but I'll just let the court know that we should have one plea, position 3, Mr. Curry.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pilon. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear us, Ms. Bridgewater?
I can hear you, Judge. Can you not hear me? For some reason. There we are. Okay. I'm here. Hello, everybody. Okay. The reset date for the SAP calendar is going to be September the 5th.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. You're welcome.
Very stylish this afternoon. And courtroom 2, let us know when you're ready.
Position number 1, Ms. Agnew.
If you can unmute for me, courtroom 2. Good afternoon, Ms. Agnew. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You have been charged in case 23 CR 005163E with battery family violence. Let's see, who do we have on from pretrial?
I'm here, Your Honor.
Oh, good afternoon, Ms. Hardy.
Good afternoon.
Is there a history?
This defendant has one cycle in Georgia. Their last arrest was July the 23rd, 2018 for simple battery out of Fulton. Nothing further to report.
Is that case open?
That case is not open, no, sir.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Pilon.
Yes, Your Honor. In this matter, officers responded to an armed person call. The victim reported the defendant was upset that he tried to leave the apartment and it ended in an altercation. The victim sustained several bloody markings and scratches to his cheek, head, eye, and ear, and the defendant had no visible injuries. The defendant and the victim lived together. That's the basis of the family violence element. Your Honor, we're asking for a $4,000 surety charge. No further contact with Mr. Tanaka Thomas. I'm going to stay away from the incident location, which is 2900 Camp Creek Parkway. I would like to sound for Mr. Thomas.
If Mr. Tanaka Thomas is with us, now is your opportunity to address the court if you choose to do so. Doesn't appear so. Let's see, Ms. Abden, you representing Ms. Agnew?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, good afternoon.
So Ms. Agnew's 30 years old. She was born in Georgia. She's lived here her whole life. She has a lot of family here in Georgia. She has a 10-year-old daughter. She's the only person who cares for her daughter. And she's currently enrolled in Atlanta Beauty School for cosmetology, and she only has 2 months left before she completes her program. She maintains her innocence. She contests these allegations. She also tells me that the address, the incident location is actually her apartment. And the complaining witness, her boyfriend, does not reside there. And like I said, she contests the allegations. And since pretrial determined that she meets the criteria for judicial release, I'm going to request a signature bond for her.
It's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Mr. Thomas, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Agnew.
Your Honor,
Yes.
we get a law enforcement escort. I don't have anything to indicate that the defendant's, that the victim does not live at that location.
Okay, well, I'm happy to do that, Mr. Pilon. So, Ms. Agnew, if what you're telling me is true, that Mr. Thomas does not live there, then you can reside there. I will have you go with an escort from the police to make sure that Mr. Thomas is not at that location. If Mr. Thomas is at that location or resides there, then you necessarily won't be able to stay there. If he does not reside there, then you can stay there, okay? All right, good luck to you, Ms. Agnew.
Condition number 2, Ms. Bennett.
Good afternoon, Ms. Bennett. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yeah.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 005-167A with simple battery, family violence, simple battery against a person who is 65 years or older, who is pregnant at the time of the offense, and willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant doesn't have a history, and if she is released to be supervised through pretrial, she will need an adult cosigner.
Okay. Mr. Pilon?
Yes, Your Honor. In this matter, officers responded to a fight call. Victim stated the defendant shoved him during an argument. When the victim regained his footing, the defendant shoved him in the face again. When officers went to arrest, the defendant ran and struggled against the officers while the officer gave lawful commands to stop resisting. Our office was able to contact the victim. The victim does not wish the defendant to return to the residence. He confirmed the events in the warrant. We're asking for a $3,000 surety bond. That'd be $1,000 per, Your Honor. We'd also ask for no further contact with the victim, Mr. Wayman Jeffrey, and a stay away from the incident address, which is 713 University Avenue Southwest. And I would like to sound for Mr. Jeffrey.
Mr. Wayman Jeffries is with us this afternoon and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. Doesn't appear so, Mr. Pilon. Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Bennett is 18 years old. She was born in Georgia, has lived here her whole life. She's currently in school for her GED at Atlanta Tech. She works at Kroger, and she's been working there for about 2 months. It is my understanding that the complaining witness, he's a friend of the family. He was just staying with her and her mom at the incident address for a week. And so I would ask that she be able to return to her home where her mother lives. She communicated to me that she's okay with no contact if that is a condition, and she maintains her innocence and strongly contests these allegations. And as she has no prior history, And given the allegations, I would ask for a signature on bond.
How old? I'll get to you, Mr. Pelon,
Yes, sir.
just a moment. How old is your client?
So she told me she was 18. It was my understanding that that was okay to do without getting a parent to sign off.
And Ms. Hardy, was it
Let
your
me check.
understanding that she was below 18?
Yes, I was told that if they're under the age of 22, they would need a parental cosigner.
Okay. Ms. Abden, do you know whether or not her mother would be willing to sign for her?
I don't see why not.
Okay, I'll need her mother's name to put on if I can you find that out for me?
Yes, it's on one of my forms. It'll just take me 2 minutes to find it.
Okay. And Mr. Pelon, did you have the same issue as far as Mr. Jeffries being in that household?
Yes, Your Honor. I just wanted to rebut one point. Our victim states that
Okay.
he's lived at that residence for 5 years. The defendant has been there for 6 months. So we would rebut defendant's contention that he has lived there a week.
Okay.
Well, Your Honor, he's not here today. And as far as I understand from my client, that is where she lives. She's in school. I mean, she's very close with her mom, and I would ask that she be able to return to her home.
Well, you understand, Ms. Abden, that if Mr. Jeffries lives in that household, and given that this just happened on the 23rd, that I can't return her to a household where he's living, especially if he does not desire her to be around. Now, if he resides someplace else, and it's fine with the court if she goes back to the University Avenue address. But if he lives there, then necessarily she's going to have to find someplace else to live in the meantime. Okay, and maybe you
Yeah.
could just ask, can you just ask your client what her mother's name is? If that's all
Yes.
right.
Ms.
Courtroom
Bennett,
two,
what is your mother's name and maybe her phone number, if you could give that to us?
It's Ashley and her phone
Oh, I
number.
have it. I apologize. It's right in front of me. It's Ashley, and I do have her phone number. Would you like me to read it for the court?
No, I don't want to put
Oh.
her number out. But
Okay.
is the last name Bennett?
Yeah,
Okay.
to my understanding.
And
Ms.
I want to
Bennett,
make
what
sure,
is-
go ahead,
Sorry.
Ms. Abden.
Thank you. I apologize. Ms. Bennett, what is your mom's last name?
Gaston.
Gaston,
Yeah.
Gaston?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if nothing further from council, it's going to be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial per the judge on each charge, which means it's a $3,000 total signature bond through pretrial per the judge. She is to be released to Ashley Gaston. Ms. Gaston is also, Ms. Abden, just so you know, going to have to bring a utility bill or something that an ID and a utility bill to prove that she lives at the University Avenue address. She can have no further contact with Wayman Jeffries. There should also be a law enforcement escort to make sure that Mr. Jeffries does not live at that location. If he does live at that location, then she necessarily can't be there. If he does not, of course, she can reside with her mother. No drugs, no alcohol or weapons while out on bond. All right. Good luck to you, Ms. Bennett.
Y'all in position number 3, Mr. Curry.
This is the plea, Your Honor. I was told by defense counsel that this would go forward pro se.
Okay. And do we have the plea paperwork completed, Mr. Pelon?
Your Honor, we just sent the plea paperwork over. It just needs to be filled out and returned. I would ask that Mr. Curry be held until that's completed.
Okay, you should have courtroom 2. You should have the plea paperwork for Mr. Curry. He'll need to complete that paperwork before we can take his plea.
Okay. Position
Thank you.
number 5, Mr. Farrell. Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ferrero. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Thank you. You have been charged in case 23 CR 005164Y with pedestrian in a roadway and willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant does not have any criminal history to report.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. Pilon.
I think this might be Deputy Falk's case. Ms. Falk?
It may be. Which case is this? My apologies.
Position 5.
Position 5. Let's see. It is indeed. So in this case, Your Honor, the defendant was at the Georgia 400 southbound exit ramp in Holcomb Bridge Road on August 23rd, 2023. He was observed walking in and out of heavy traffic while panhandling on the exit ramp. This was also observed on traffic cameras. The defendant walked back and forth to avoid police, refused lawful orders to come to the officer and stop walking in the roadway. And the officer then placed him under arrest and charged him with both the pedestrian in the roadway and obstruction of the law enforcement officer. Currently, there is a $1,380 surety bond set on this case, $600 on the obstruction of law enforcement officer, $780 on the pedestrian. The state is asking that that be converted to a signature bond through pretrial, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no panhandling on the roadway. That's all for the state.
Yes, Your Honor.
To reside.
He does not have it yet, so I referred him to social worker and also PAD.
Okay, so I would like for him to have a social worker visit so that you can
Yes.
assist him with housing. It's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail on each count. Makes for a total of $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. And that social worker visit to assist, Ms. Kim.
Yes.
Good luck to you, sir.
Got position number 6, Mr. Green.
Good afternoon, Mr. Green. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Sir.
Was that a yes? I'm sorry.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Green, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005172D with theft by taking. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 23 arrest cycles in Georgia, a felony conviction in 2011 for possession of marijuana. Their last arrest was April the 13th, 2023 out of Fulton for an FTA. They have 4 probation violations, 3 FTAs. It appears that they're on probation for simple battery out of Fulton. That case number is 22 CR 006138E. Nothing further to report.
Mr. Pilon?
Your Honor, in this matter, officers responded to a theft by employee. The store manager at the location asked the defendant to leave for the day after violating store policies. The defendant asked the store manager to confirm that discipline with the owner. And while the store manager stepped away, the defendant removed $310.29 from the register and fled the scene. Security camera footage reflects the same retelling of events. We're asking that you maintain the $1,000 surety bond that's already assigned to the defendant, that you also order a stay away from the incident address, which is 2072 DeForest Ferry Road, Northwest, Atlanta, and no further contact with the store manager's name, whose name is Mr. Denzel Woodard. I'd like to sound for Mr. Woodard.
Mr. Woodard is with us this afternoon. Now is your opportunity to address the court if you choose to. Does not appear so. Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Green is 36 years old. He was born in New Orleans, but he's lived in Georgia for the past 20 years. He has 2 children, 9 and 5 years old. He has obtained his high school diploma, and he's currently working as a shift manager at Taco Bell. He just started working there a couple of days ago and would like to return. He maintains his innocence and contests these allegations. He tells me that this was a misunderstanding, and he is okay with not returning to the incident location. And I would ask for a signature on bond for Mr. Green. Thank you.
Okay, it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Mr. Woodard. Stay away from the DeForest Ferry Road address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Green.
Position number 4, Mr. DeLeon.
Good afternoon, Mr. DeLeon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? You're mute, courtroom too. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. DeLeon, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005168C with driving under the influence of alcohol, less safe, improper or erratic lane change, and driving without a valid license. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has a total of 9 arrest cycles with arrests out of New Jersey and North Carolina. The last arrest was October 31st, 2021 for simple assault out of New Jersey. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Falk?
I also showed a 2022 out of North Carolina for assault on a female. This incident happened June 8th, 2023 at 10:13 p.m. The defendant was driving a Chevy Cobalt on Holcomb Bridge Road at Holcomb Spring Drive. The defendant lost control of the vehicle. It left the roadway and flipped over a retaining wall. When the officers at the scene, the officers found a small bottle of unopened liquor that was located in the defendant's pocket. Another bottle was found on the ground near the vehicle. A passenger was inside the vehicle when this happened, and they confirmed that he'd been consuming alcohol prior to driving. Medical records, the reason I believe the actual warrant took so long to execute is medical records were obtained via search warrant, which showed the defendant had a BAC of 0.352. Which is, just doing some quick math here, about 7 times the legal limit.
And Judge, we would object. I mean, it's out there now, but to putting these numbers on the record, given that
Your Honor,
to go through the evidentiary process before these could ever be entered. We have potential jurors watching live stream. It's just not appropriate to put the number out there at this stage, Judge. So we would ask that if there are any other cases involving these numbers, that the state withhold mentioning that given the public nature of these proceedings.
And Your Honor, the state's response to that is this information was provided to obtain the warrant. It is part of the probable cause. The state has every right to put it on the record.
Judge, we believe the court has a right to know. This is a public proceeding. Again, potential jurors are watching, and we shouldn't be putting that number out in the public sphere at this point. The court should know absolutely, but we're talking about the public nature of this.
And Your Honor, the state would be doing the same in a courtroom at a bond hearing.
And the public wouldn't be present.
They would, because they would be permitted to come into an open courtroom and listen to whatever they wish.
Mm-hmm.
Totally open than the regular courtroom. The numbers out there at the present time, Mr. Howard. I hear what you're telling the court, and I'll make note of it for the future, and we'll have a discussion about it. But as far as this hearing goes at the present time, if you'll continue, Ms. Falk, and we appreciate your objection, Mr. Howard.
Yes, Your Honor. And my apologies, I was not a math major, I'm an English major, but it was 4 times what the legal limit would have been. So I do want to place on the record that the state has some very real concerns here due to the amount of alcohol, due to the fact that the defendant had a passenger inside of the vehicle and the car flipped over a retaining wall. This could have ended far differently than it did, Your Honor, as you well know. Based on that, the fact that the defendant's history is very recent outside of the state. He's a multi-state offender with offenses from 2022 in North Carolina and 2021 in New Jersey. The state is requesting $7,000 surety bond, $5,000 on the DUI, $1,000 on the remaining 2 counts. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and absolutely no driving unless it's to work, medical, or his attorney.
Ms. Karen?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 29 years old and he moved to Georgia September 25, 2022. He is a U.S. citizen. And Your Honor, he used to work at Lazy Dog. However, he does not believe he has a job anymore because ever since June 8, 2023, he was in coma and he has been bed rested. So he was not able to go to work. He has no financial means to pay for any bond. And he just took off his walker. So even though he does not have a walker and wheelchair, he's not that still, he's not stable enough. So he does need to take care of his body. I mean, medically, he has to pay attention more. He completed up to 11th grade, and we would like to request for signature on bond for driving offenses, for driving lane, and the valid license that he didn't have. We would like to ask for signature on bond, and then DUI maximum $1,000 good bond. Thanks.
It's going to be a $1,500 good bond for the DUI less safe. $250 good bond for the other 2 charges, makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond, and no driving without a valid license, of course. Good luck to you, Mr. DeLeon.
Y'all, can you hear that breakdown one more time, please?
Sure. $1,500 for the DUI, $250 for each of the other charges, $2,000 total. Okay.
Appreciate you. Position number 8. Position number 8.
Okay.
Your Honor, we would request a breakout room or to do this off recording for this client.
Okay, would you like me to take courtroom 2, Mr. Legue, last, or would you like me to go into a breakout room at the present time?
We can go last. We got momentum going. I like to keep that.
Okay, all right, very good.
Thank you.
Position number 10, Mr. Payne.
Good afternoon, Mr. Payne. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 0051669F with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 7 arrest cycles in Georgia. Their last arrest was July the 20th, 2023 for theft by shoplifting out of Clayton County. They have 2 FTAs. Looks like a possible open case in both DeKalb and Clayton for theft by shoplifting, and also a hold in Clayton. Nothing further to report.
And is the hold for, do you know what the hold is for?
It doesn't give me what it just says it's a Clayton hold.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Pilon?
Yes, Your Honor. In this matter, officers responded to a shoplifting call and met with the loss prevention officer at Walmart. Loss prevention observed the defendant conceal on his person and in a bag merchandise, including a knife, a set of hatchets, and some yarn. The defendant then exited the store through a side door without attempting to pay. On his way out, the defendant dropped a cell phone. The loss prevention officer recovered that cell phone, turned it over to our law enforcement officer, who got a search warrant and identified the defendant as the owner of the phone. When he pulled up the owner of the phone's photo through driver services, it matched the depiction of the person caught on Walmart's cameras. Your Honor, given the recent shoplifting history, any additional shoplifting would be a felony, and that I show 3 FTAs. We're asking for a $1,500 surety bond. There's currently a $2,500 surety bond on the offense, and we'd also ask for a stay away from the incident location, which is 970 Mansell Road in Roswell.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 26 years old and he was born in Florida. He has been here in Georgia for 4 years. He's gainfully employed at warehouse. He started his new job on August 15. So he's relatively new to his job and he wants to keep his job. Your Honor, he has no children, and the reason that he was actually have a hold in Clayton County, he has been there for 33 days, and then he completed all the issues over there in Clayton County, and he got transferred to Fulton County. So I would like the judge to consider that he was already taken care of that Clayton part. So we would like to request for signature on bond for this theft issues, and because he's been serving a lot at the jail already. And that's about it, Your Honor. Thanks.
It's going to be a $500 Walmart alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Payne.
Your Honor, you went out. We didn't hear.
I could not hear, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
$500 good bond.
Thank you.
Your Honor, position number 7, Mr. Gresham.
Okay.
I apologize, Your Honor. Position number 11.
Okay. Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Salesi. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes.
Thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 005162C with giving false information to law enforcement. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant does not have a history, and if they're released through pretrial, they will need an adult cosigner.
Thank you. Ms. Falk? We can't hear you, Ms. Falk.
Yes, Your Honor. This happened August 23rd, 2023 at Equitable Street and Auburn Avenue. Defendant was on the GSU's campus property with no affiliation to GSU. When the officer asked what his name was, the defendant gave the name of Legend Smith. The officer did find that name did not exist. The defendant eventually gave the correct name. Additionally, 1.5 grams of marijuana were found on his person. This is his first arrest in the state. For that reason, is offering a $1,500 signature bond through pretrial services with a cosigner, stay off of GSU property unless he becomes a student.
Ms. Kim?
Your Honor, I believe the marijuana charge was dismissed, NOD. It's not on the docket anymore. And I would like to request for signature on bond through jail. He is only 20 years old. He has been here in Georgia for 13 years. He graduated from high school 2020. And Your Honor, he has a job at Tassilis. It's a food business. He's a cook there. He wants to keep his job and be productive instead of being in the jail. We would like to request for signature on bond through jail. Thanks.
Your Honor,
Go ahead, Ms. Ball.
my apologies. I wanted to make an inquiry of PD Kim before Your Honor announces the bond. PD Kim, is the PD's office going to be representing him after today?
Yes, he's qualified.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I have some paperwork I would like to send over to you for his review.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And does he have a place to reside, Ms. Kim?
Not as of now, Your Honor. So I sent out the social worker.
Okay, I'd like him to have a social worker visit to help him with housing. It's going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, sir.
Position number 7. Position number 12, Mrs. Shelton.
Good afternoon, Mr. Shelton. I'm Judge Eric Mora. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? Was that a yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Shelton. You've been charged in case 23 CR 005174A with theft by taking. Is there a history?
This defendant has 2 arrest cycles out of Virginia. Their last arrest was March the 8th, 2020 on a FTA on a misdemeanor charge out of Newport News, Virginia. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This happened August 19th, 2023 at Maverick Apartments at 72 Milton Avenue, apartment 5109. The apartment had video of this defendant removing packages from the package room. The defendant was then questioned in his apartment after the officers told leaseholders that he could ask them to leave at any time. During that questioning of the defendant admitted to stealing 3 packages from the package room that did not belong to him. One item was a pair of shoes belonging to Naisha McDonald. One was a power toolbox. They were never able to identify who that belonged to. And the last was a pair of Yeezy shoes that belonged to Ryan Williams. The defendant actually has already been to court on the shoes that belonged to Naisha McDonald. And at that time, he was given a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial services. The case number is 23 CR 005150A. At that time, he was also given a stay away from 72 Milton Avenue, which is the Maverick Apartments, and no further contact with Naisha McDonald. The state is asking for a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services with the same stay away order from 72 Milton Avenue and a no further contact with Ryan Williams, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. And the reason the 2 cases were split, Your Honor, is because initially they weren't able to identify the owner of the Yeezy shoes. And then after he was arrested on Naisha McDonald's case, they were able to identify the owner of the shoes. So I can't say that he will not be rearrested if they identify who the power toolbox belongs to. But I just wanted to kind of let everybody know there's still 1 item left that hasn't been identified yet, that if it is identified would lead to another warrant.
Any objection to any of that, Ms. McLeod?
I don't object to the signature bond, Your Honor, but I would like to put on the record the fact that my client was here yesterday. I don't understand why the state thinks that this is an efficient way to do things. And suggesting that he's going to be rearrested, I don't think you have to identify an alleged owner before you can make an accusation. My client has no convictions whatsoever. He's been arrested twice, I believe it was said, but he is presumed innocent here. And to keep him sitting in jail, he tells me he was on his way out of the jail when they stopped him and told him that there was another case and he had to sit and wait again. So I don't want this to happen to him again, Your Honor. If they're suggesting that there's something else, all of it should have been brought out at one time so that my client doesn't just sit there. Nothing further on.
Your Honor, I could have sworn I just explained why we weren't able to identify and take out all the warrants at the same time. Additionally, an essential element of theft by taking is an owner. I have to identify an owner legally. So I can't just charge him with unidentified theft when I don't know who owns the property.
Well, he shouldn't just be sitting in jail when he had a bond to get out.
All right, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond for pretrial. No further contact with Mr. Ryan Williams. Stay away from the Milton Avenue address, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Shelton.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. And that concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, have a good rest of your day. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Cloud.
you.
We appreciate you as always.
Your Honor, petition number 7, Mr. Gresham.
Okay.
They keep picking me out, Your Honor. This is the 7th time they call, or the 3rd time they call position 7.
Well, we'll get Mr. Gresham done. Mr. Gresham, good afternoon. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. Good afternoon, sir. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Mr. Gresham, you've been charged in case 23 CR 0051711A with fair evasion and criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has 98 arrest cycles in Georgia, felony convictions in 1990 for forgery, 2006 possession of cocaine, 2008 possession of cocaine, 2013 aggravated assault and theft by shoplifting, 2012 theft by shoplifting. The last arrest was February the 10th, 2023 for fair evasion and criminal trespass. That case is still open. The number is 23 CR 000-854A. There's 2 FTAs and 7 probation violations. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Mr. Pilon, do you know who gave him the bond for the fair evasion and criminal trespass previous?
I do, Your Honor. So I just highlight 2 things. One, I actually have its 99 cycles in Georgia. In the previous case, which pretrial read out the number of, it was a $5,000 signature bond per Judge Williams.
Okay.
And part of that bond was to stay away from this location.
Okay. The facts?
Yes, Your Honor. In this matter,
Well,
officers observed.
No, go ahead. I imagine it's MARTA and fair evasion. So
That's correct. Officer observed defendant enter through the fair gate without paying, and the defendant had an active MARTA ban at the time. This is the same MARTA station. It's MARTA 5 Point Station, which is 30 Alabama Street. And as was read, Judge, I guess we would ask that the previous signature on bond be revoked. So that would be a $5,000 bond. We're asking for a $2,000 surety on this bond because of the reoffense.
Okay. Ms. Abden?
Thank you, Your Honor. My client's 56 years old. He was born in Georgia. He's lived here his whole life. He has a 37-year-old son. He got his high school diploma in Georgia. He's recently working at Nobu as a dishwasher. He's only been working there for a short time. And he has a variety of medical conditions, which make him being housed at the jail very difficult. And he maintains his innocence. He told me that he contests the allegations. And I would also object to the do not return to the incident location. He tells me that MARTA station is his only mode of transportation. He needs to get to medical appointments and he needs to get to his job. I would object to that. And I would also ask for a signature on bond.
Well, there is a ruling in place by another judge that says he can't go back there. So, I appreciate your objection, but he's already been told that he can't go back there. And he has the right to contest these charges for sure, but he doesn't have the right to violate a court order by continuing to go back to the MARTA where he's been ordered by the court not to be. given that he was given a signature bond in for the previous allegations, I'm remiss to give him another signature bond in this matter. I will give him a lower bond of $500. So a $500 good bond. Stay away from, if he does, if there are MARTA restrictions, then he's to abide by any MARTA restrictions, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Ms. Abden, are you all going to continue to represent him going forward?
I believe so.
Okay, so if he does not make the $500 bond, maybe we can take up all of these matters on the SAP calendar on September 5th. So if you'll let who's ever going to be at that SAP calendar know, and maybe he can handle those all at one time, or have a bond modification if you choose to.
I will. Thank you, Your Honor. I also want to
Excuse
put
me,
on
Your
the
Honor.
record.
Okay.
Yeah,
Excuse me,
sorry.
two things. Is that 500 each or 500 total?
it's 500 total, 250 each, Ms. Briscoe.
Okay, and
Thank you.
also the SAP date is the 7th.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
September 7th. Thank you.
Yes, okay.
All right, Mr. Gresham, good luck to you, sir. Your client has a question, Ms. Abden. Mr. Gresham, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. I'm happy to let you speak with Ms. Abden, but I don't want you to get yourself into any more trouble by saying something that you think is going to be helpful, but in actuality isn't, okay?
Mr. Gresham, I would advise you not to speak, and we can contact you a little bit later.
I just have a short comment to the judge. It's not going to get me in any trouble. What I'm saying to the judge is that this is my only means of transportation. I have no transportation of my own. I have to get to my job. I have to get to MARTA never, they never banded me. They only suspended me for some time. And that was in February. Now here it is forward. Now this is mid August. So I'm trying to figure out how long does the suspension last, or how long does this ban? Is it a lifetime ban?
Mr. Gresham, we can talk to you about that a little bit later and explain the judge's ruling and where you're allowed to go back to or not. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Thank you.
We'll speak later.
Good luck to you, Mr. Gresham.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Oh, you're welcome.
Position number 13,
I can do
Mrs. Sims.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sims. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir. May we conduct this hearing by video today? Is that all right with you?
So, yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Sims, you've been charged in case 23 CR 005176H with 2 counts of theft by taking. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has a total of 32 arrest cycles, felony conviction in 1982 for armed robbery, 1989 possession of a firearm by convicted felon, 1997 aggravated assault, terroristic threats and acts, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, 2000 possession of marijuana, 2004 possession of a controlled substance, 2010 possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Last arrest was April the 11th, 2021 for driving while license suspended or revoked out of Clayton County. It appears that they're on federal probation for unlawful transport of a firearm. That disposition date was January the 6th, 2021, and they received 36 months of supervised probation, 3 FTAs and 3 probation violations. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened August 23rd, 2023 at Centennial Olympic Park. excuse me, at August 14th of 2023 at 120 North Avenue Northwest in Atlanta. Georgia Tech surveillance cameras captured the defendant rolling large trash bins next to a walk-in freezer inside the NAA dining hall kitchen. The defendant was going back and forth within the walk-in freezer, removing and concealing items before going back to his personal vehicle with them. And what the officers then determined was that the defendant took a black cooler bag based on the surveillance and all the other information. Defendant took a black cooler bag, a case of chicken wings, 20 pounds of ground beef, and placed them inside of his vehicle. Total value was $258. As you've already heard, this defendant has 31 cycles, including being currently on probation, as well as the fact the defendant had 3 FTAs and 3 probation violations. There is a $1,000 surety bond currently on this case. The state is asking that bond remain in place, but it be split between the 2 counts for $500 per count. Stay away from Georgia Tech property, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 59 years old and he has been here in Georgia all his life. And Your Honor, he does have a 1 minor child that he has to continuously support. He is self-employed and as a mechanic, and he does roadside assistance as well. He's been doing that for the last 3 years. He graduated from high school, and we would like to request for signature on bond for these charges. Please note that he turned himself in to take care of this matter. We would like to request for signature on bond. Thanks.
Okay, it's going to be a $2,000 signature bond per charge, which is a $4,000 signature bond total through pretrial per the judge. Stay away from Georgia Tech properties, specifically the NAA dining hall. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Sims.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Have a blessed day. Position number 14, Mr. Walter.
Good afternoon, Mr. Walker. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we are conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Walter, you were charged in case 23 CR 005175C with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant has a total of 28 arrest cycles with arrests out of Georgia, Maryland, and Texas. Felony conviction in 1998 for assault on a public servant. The last arrest was April 21st, 2023 for a liquor violation out of Fort Worth, Texas. 1 FTA and 1 parole violation. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Falk?
Yes, Your Honor. This happened August 23rd, 2023 at Centennial Olympic Park in Lucky Street. The defendant was being disorderly to patrons and the streetcar operator, causing them to contact MARTA Police Department. The police department, the police officer arrived and the rail supervisor identified the defendant as being the person who was being disorderly to patrons, and they also stated he did not pay the fare. The defendant was issued a verbal criminal trespass warning. The defendant then left the streetcar but returned a few minutes later, and the officers then placed him under arrest. As you've already heard, this defendant has most of the cycles are out of Texas. I believe it's 26 out of Texas, 1 out of Maryland, and 1 out of Georgia, with the most recent one out of Texas, I believe, being April of this year. So we do have concerns about him being a flight risk since he doesn't seem to have any ties to this community. We are requesting a $1,000 surety bond, stay away from MARTA, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and potentially a social worker visit as well, Your Honor.
Is that streetcar a MARTA streetcars?
It is.
Okay.
Apparently it's run and operated by MARTA. Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 65 years old and he moved to Georgia about 6 weeks ago. He has not had any employment since he's retired. He gets disabilities, Social Security income. and he's qualified for public defender services. He served the Army from 1975 to 1982. He is a military veteran. He completed GED. Your Honor, indeed, he does have an address here in Georgia at East Point, Georgia. And his sister, I believe, is residing here. So he does have a ties to the community, and we would like to request for signature on bond through jail. Thanks.
It's going to be $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Abide by any MARTA suspensions, drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Walter.
Position number 15, Mr. Wilkerson.
Good afternoon, Mr. Wilkerson. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that were conducted by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video? You have to answer verbally for me, Mr. Wilkerson.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, thank you. You've been charged in case 23 CR 005166A with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
This defendant is a multi-state offender with offenses in Georgia and Florida, and looks like a federal agency. There's a felony conviction in 2018 for robbery. Last arrest, February the 2nd, 2023, out of Fulton for criminal trespass. That case number is 23 CR 005166A. One probation violation and 2 FTAs, nothing further to report.
Yes, Your Honor, and I just wanted to check because I actually have a different case number that the defendant entered a plea of guilt on June 15th of 2023 that was ordered by Judge Lull. It was 2 counts of criminal trespass, 1 count of loitering and prowling. And that case number is 23 CR 003659F. So we do have a different number on his history as far as the sentence provision that he is currently under. The probation was suspended though, Your Honor. This incident happened on August 23rd, 2023 at 925 Canterbury Road, which is the Kendrick. The officers were informed by the leasing staff that people were breaking into and squatting in the vacant units. They went to apartment 1245 where they met with the defendant. He admitted to not living in that location, stated he gained access to the unit by climbing over the balcony and opening the screen door. He stated he found out about the unit via word of mouth and was there using the property and charging his cell phone. The defendant had been previously trespassed from the property, and so at this occasion he was arrested. As you heard from pretrial, he has a conviction for robbery from 2018. He has that 23 CR 003659F case where he just entered a plea in June, and it's been about 2 months later and he's already back before this court after being incarcerated on the previous criminal trespass and loitering and prowling charges. The state is requesting a $1,000 surety bond. Stay away from 925 Canterbury Road Northeast, which is the Kendrick. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 28 years old and he has been residentially challenged. He has been here in Georgia for 5 years and he has a 5-year-old daughter actually that he wants to take care of. He has not had any job, so he's qualified for public defender services. He completed GED, and Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond for him. Thanks.
It's going to be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the Canterbury Road location, 925 Canterbury Road. I would like him to have a social worker visit Ms. Kim to assist him with housing. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you.
Good luck to you, Mr. Wilkerson.
You say that bond one more time, Your Honor?
$2,000 signature bond through the jail. Okay.
Position number 19. Mr. Anderson. What about?
I'm sorry. What position was that?
Position number 19.
My calendar only goes through 15.
Mine too.
Mine too. That was the last case on the calendar, going down.
Me too.
Your Honor, I did speak with somebody who's not on the calendar. It's possible.
Ms. Abden, who did you speak with?
Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Anderson's case, we sent to the DA's office. It was, and I don't know if you got the email that I sent to the group. It was part and parcel of the felony charges that he's already in the DA's office on. I'm just waiting for Mr. Hutcherson to respond, but it just needs to be linked under that 23 CP number.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yeah.
figured because we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah, that offense literally happened like less than 3 hours after the felony offenses, and the defendant was was allegedly riding the stolen bicycle that was the basis of the felony offenses. So I'm not sure why they got split up.
No worries. Thank you for clarifying that.
Do you want another case while we figure it out?
Okay, who do we have?
Okay, we have position number 3 again. Mr. Kern, you just fill out the paperwork.
Okay. So, and he has filled out the paperwork?
We did send that over to Miss Bridgewater.
I have it.
Okay, all right, so we can go ahead and take that plea. Okay, and this is, if you'll unmute, this is Mr. Curry, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, good afternoon again, Mr. Curry. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. Do you agree to have your case heard by video?
Yes, yes.
Thank you, sir. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Curry, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We have provided you today with the assistance of the public defender. It's my understanding that you do not wish to utilize the services of the public defender and you wish to proceed pro se, meaning without a lawyer, and enter a plea to these charges. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I just want to make sure that I know what you've been charged in case 23 CR 005173A with fair evasion and criminal trespass. Mr. Pilon, what will be the state's recommendation?
Your Honor, state's recommendation is 12 months probation, 1 day in jail, credit for time served, balance suspended, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, stay away from MARTA location at 30 Alabama Street, Atlanta.
Now, Mr. Curry, is that what you expected? Is that what you agreed to or want to agree to?
Yes, but yes.
Okay, it's a time served plea of 1 day. Oh, and the balance is going to be suspended. So you won't have to do any probation. Is that what you understand? Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Anything further, Mr. Pilon?
No, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Curry, it's my understanding that in case 23 CR 005173A, you wish to plead guilty to fair evasion and criminal trespass. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol this afternoon?
No, sir.
You've had the opportunity to be represented by counsel. It's my understanding that you wish to proceed pro se in this matter. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You understand that you have a right to a trial by jury on these charges and that by pleading guilty to them, you're giving up your right to a trial by jury?
Yes.
And you had the plea paperwork there. Did you go through that paperwork line by line?
Yes, sir.
And did you sign the bottom of the paperwork?
Yes, sir.
Has anybody forced or coerced you to plead guilty to these charges?
Oh.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Curry. I will accept the plea as negotiated, sir. Good luck to you. Who do we have next?
Position number 8, Mr. Position number 8.
This is
Okay.
the one With the
We need to
breakout room,
break.
Your Honor.
And what happened to position number 9? Is he courtroom 2?
So he was released.
Okay, he was released.
Yes.
So position number 8, it's my understanding that he's our last case. Is that everybody else's understanding?
We still have 19, Mr. Anderson.
No.
Or is he gonna-
Well, let me figure out who Mr. Anderson is, because we don't have a 19 on our calendars, courtroom 2. But
Your Honor, we just talked about Mr. Anderson. That was the one that was sent over to the DA's office.
Okay, so is he
Yeah.
in courtroom 2? Okay, yeah, okay, so we won't need you today, Mr. Anderson. Thank you, though, sir. All right, so let's go into a breakout room and deal with Mr. Logue. And I will believe that will complete the calendar. Once we come back from the breakout room, I will go over the calendar. So who all wants to go into the breakout room? Everybody? Okay.
Me, please.
Send us all.
Good afternoon, Mr. Payne. Are you here for a particular case? You have to unmute.
I was sent this link. Not quite sure why they sent me this link, but I was just, what's going on with this?
Victim on the case?
Huh?
Are
Say
you
that
the
again?
victim on the case?
Victim? On which case?
I'm not sure. That's why I'm asking you. Was someone arrested and they contacted you and said that the person was going to be on this SCA?
I need to be in the breakout room. How do I was communicating with Iman Cheney, and she said I would be added to the breakout room. How do I do that?
You was communicating with who?
Inman Cheney.
It's already been done. Pain has already been done. Pain case is already done.
They're gonna bring you in once they speak.
They will bring me in. Okay, so I just stay on like I am.
Just stay on.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Pain's case was already.
No. Ms. Payne, and you don't know why you were sent the Zoom link?
Someone sent me the Zoom link and the password and everything. They sent me the Zoom link, and I'm just on here trying to figure out exactly what this is about. That's what's going on. So obviously,
Who sent you the Zoom link?
It came from a 470 number.
I'm not sure either, sir. But this calendar is almost done. That's what I was asking. We only have one person to go.
I'm sorry, you only have one person. What?
We only have one person left. So if you came for someone else, I'm not sure who you actually came for. We have one defendant left on this count. So there's no other cases to go over. So I'm not sure why somebody would send you that Zoom link.
Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm supposed to be on here to help someone, but I don't know what's going on, and they didn't. I don't know what's going on with this. So,
Mr. Payne, do you know Elias Payne?
yeah, that's my son, Elias.
That's why they called you. He had he just had a case. He got a $500 good bond.
That's what it is.
Yes, sir. He has a $500 good bond.
Okay, so I spoke to him, and that's why I'm not getting anything on that. I can't do that right now. He has to figure that out. He's an adult. He can figure that out. I don't know. That's not me.
All
I don't
right,
know.
we're just telling you why you were called, because.
Oh, that's why I was. Okay. Well, so he's already gone then, right?
He's I believe they took him back where he was. But yeah, I just wanted to get the disposition, which was a $500 good bar.
Oh,
Company, which.
okay. So did they take him back to? He wasn't out in Fulton. He was in Clayton County.
No, they brought him from Clayton County to Fulton.
To Fulton. So he's
in Fulton County right now.
So he's in there with Donald Trump. Wow. That's messed up, I know. But anyway, no, he's gonna have to stay there right now because I can't bail him out, unfortunately. He may try to call me again. Okay, well, thank you for letting me know. I guess I don't know what else I can do to help right now.
All right.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, thank you.
Miss Lisa, what's your last name?
Her last name is Byers.
Byers, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Byers.
Judge, you're muted.
Thank you, Ms. Bridgewater. And do we have courtroom 2 back on? Okay, good afternoon again, Mr. Logue. I've had the opportunity to discuss your case with your lawyers and with the state. For each count, it's going to be $1,000 signature bond through the jail, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. I'm going to require that you reside with your father, Dennis Logue, while you are out on bond. You're to have no further violent contact with your mother or with your grandmother. You are to stay away from both of their residential addresses, the one that's on North Powers Ferry Road and Johnson's Ferry Road. You will be able to get your belongings or have someone get your belongings and get to you from those locations. You're not to have any drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Courtroom 2, you've gone. Okay. Can you unmute for me, courtroom 2? All right, so good luck to you, Mr. Lowe, okay? And your lawyers are going to come and talk with you. They're going to give you the opportunity to go into another court. So I want you to consider that when they talk with you as far as going forward, okay?
Okay, thank you, Judge.
All right, good luck to you, sir. Mr. Howard, did you have something?
Yeah, Judge, I'm thinking of a logistical issue. We probably need to get in touch with the dad to see, we didn't ask the mom, and I'm assuming that the dad will come from Wheeler County to pick him up. But we need to kind of nail that down, because if we do a straight SOB and he can't go back to mother and grandmother, you know, if we
go
don't
back to their home,
if we don't specify, you know, who's picking him up, then he'll just be released. And obviously they can come and get him, but he can't stay with them. So, you know, we need to know what the intention is in terms of getting him to his dad. If his dad's going to come and get him, or if they're going to drive him to the dad, I guess we probably need to maybe figure that out.
Ms. Byers, are you still on the line?
I am. Yes, we can arrange transportation for him. Like I said, his father had knee surgery this morning, so I don't know what the rule is about driving, but his little brother, he's 20 years old. He can drive him down there to their dads.
Oh, okay. So we will let him know to, once he's released, that he needs to wait or call. I guess he can call. Does he know? I'm assuming he knows his brother's number.
He does. He's called him twice from jail.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So that settles it. We'll get word to him to call his brother so that he can be okay. That's what I want to make sure.
And when will he be released?
That's the part, is there's no defined time. It could be anywhere in the next 12 to 24 hours. So that's why he's going to need to call the brother once they actually release him.
Okay, so we will arrange that. Like I said, we want to do what is best for him. So
okay, that helps. All right, that helps. All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, I believe that completes the 2 o'clock calendar. Ms. Bridgewater, when you're ready.
Yes, sir. Again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is September the 7th. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 2 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 3 took a plea. Position 4 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. Position 5 reset further notice with a total $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position 6 reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 7 SAP calendar with a total $500 good bond. 8 reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through the jail. Position 9 is reset further notice as the defendant has been released. Position 10 is going to the SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. 11 reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. 12 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 13 is reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial. 14, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. And position 15, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise? Okay.
Not about that, Judge Moore, are you gonna be, I've got those orders from this morning, it was several of them, so I'm.
Okay,
finishing
I'm
up. You'll be able to-
around, so if you'll get
Okay.
those to Ms. Lewis, I'm sure she's waiting for you, Mr.
I know,
Howard.
I told her I was working. Okay, thank you,
Yeah,
Judge.
she's
All
waiting.
right.
All right.
We'll
Okay,
see
Judge,
y'all-
these are on the way to you.
Okay, thank you. Y'all have a safe evening. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Sure
Thank you,
thing.
Your
Bye-bye.
Honor.
Michael? Michael?
Yeah, I'm here. I was just about to log out too.
No, so I need to